Welcome to Sharkie's Gaming Controllers. I'm Sharkie, and in today's video I'll be taking a look at the iPega Wireless Retractable Controller. Now this controller supports a number of different platforms, including Android, iOS, Windows, and Nintendo Switch. So first, let's take a look at this box. Now on the front of the box here, you get a look at the controller itself, and it looks like an R-pad is mounted inside of it. It says Wireless Retractable Controller. iPega logos up the top here, and it shows the supporting systems. So it says support Android system, support iOS system, but in brackets it does say for China user only. Then it says supports Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10 PC, and it's also compatible with Nintendo Switch. And down the bottom here it also says easy to select modes. The top of the box is quite plain, same with the bottom, and the sides just show some compatible systems. On the back, it again shows you the controller there, this time connected to a Nintendo Switch. And it also shows you the measurement here. So this is the measurement of what device you can actually fit inside this controller. So it's 13 centimeters to 28 centimeters, or 5.1 inches to 11 inches. So whether it be a phone, tablet, or a Nintendo Switch, this can actually hold quite a large device. Down the bottom here, it shows different languages, but all these languages say is basically what systems it's compatible with. It's got the model number down here, and it just says wireless controller. So once you pulled out everything from the box, this is what you get. So of course you get the controller itself. You also get a micro USB cable, and this is for charging as well as connecting the controller to PC. You get these two little black blocks here, and this is for connecting to the Nintendo Switch. And that's what also this piece of paper explains here. You get this little catalog that kind of goes through other controllers available, and there's quite a few. So quite a few controllers that iPega have made over the years. And finally, you get this instruction manual. So this has some very important information. So of course down the bottom here it shows you key functions. Then it goes into usage of Android HID mode, usage of Nintendo Switch mode, USB data cable wired connection to PC, wireless Bluetooth connection to PC, usage of Android mouse mode, of course how you charge and put it to sleep in other modes, operation instructions, and of course frequently asked questions and the accessory list. So now let's take a look at this controller. So the first thing you notice about it is the two-tone color design. So it's got this like light gray on top of a dark gray. It's also got these red accents underneath the sticks and also on the buttons. It looks really nice. Going into the features, first off you've got two analog sticks here, and these sticks feel quite nice. And they also click down. On the side you've got four face buttons, so A, B, X and Y, and again that coloring looks really nice. It's like red on black with a bit of a red accent around the edges, and it sort of shines in the light a bit. Down the bottom here you've got two LED lights and a start button. On this side you've got a home button up the top here, and a D-pad. Now this D-pad is quite soft and doesn't make much sound. You've got two LED lights here as well, and you've also got a select button. On the side of the controller, you've got the controller mode. So this is the mode that allows you to use different devices. So you've got controller mode, which is used for most devices, switch mode, and then two iOS modes. And this is easy to change. All you need to do is get your nail in that groove and kind of just flick it down a level. On the back of the controller, you've got two triggers and two bumper buttons. Now the bumper buttons are quite ordinary. They press down quite well though, and they do make a slight sound. Now the triggers are shaped to fit your hands there, but they don't feel like regular triggers. they don't actually have that much travel distance, so they feel more closer to buttons that look like triggers. But when you hold the controller, you can still sort of pull them just like you would a normal trigger. But when you pull them, it definitely feels like they should travel more than they actually do. On the bottom of the controller, you've got the micro USB port. Now this is where you plug your USB cable to charge the controller, as well as connect this via wired mode to PC. Now in the back of the controller here, you've got the main adjustable mechanism. So this is how you adjust it to add devices into this controller. So there's actually a lock release here. So out is released and then in is locked. So when you actually put it out, you can actually slide this to adjust the size. The idea is that you find the position you want, you lock this, and then you pull this open more, and this side extends out with a spring mechanism so that you can load your phone or tablet into the controller and then lock it into place. Now of course, if that's the wrong size, you can always adjust it and then lock it back into place. So the maximum adjustment is there, the smallest adjustment is there. So setting this controller up with a mobile phone is actually quite easy. But the first thing we need to do is actually install the phone into the controller. So to do that, we just need to adjust this controller. You open the back lock mechanism up here and open the controller up, grab your phone, put it into place, find the rough position you need to go to. Now when you go to lock it, you might find it doesn't actually lock. This is okay. Pull your phone back out of the controller and then tighten this maybe 1 or 2 notches and lock it into position. Then using this side here that extends out with the spring mechanism, open it up, grab your phone and put it back into the controller. Now it should be very nice and tight fitting, and this is not going to fall out. The next thing, just make sure that this is in controller mode, and that's that mode with a little controller icon next to it. This is the mode that needs to be in for Android phones. Now simply turn on your phone and go to your Bluetooth menu. Hold down the home button for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. This will start blinking. You may need to refresh your Bluetooth screen here. And there it is. PG9083. You press that. It'll go connected. And now this controller is ready to play. You'll also find the LED will go solidly colored. Now, is this controller good to play with mobile games? Yes, it is. And I mean, realistically, any controller is better than those on-screen controls. So yes, this controller is great to play with this. It doesn't block any of your screen, so you can see the full screen while you're playing. And of course, it is a very comfortable controller to hold. You could easily play this for hours on end. So overall, I would say this is a great controller to play mobile phone games with. So setting this controller up with the Nintendo Switch is also quite easy, but it does require a few extra steps. The first being to install these little rubber blocks onto the Switch. So you grab your Switch console and you put these little rubber blocks in the rails here. Now they will be loose, so they will fall out, so you sort of got to hold them in there while you're doing this. Put the other one in. Grab the controller. Unlock it. Open the controller up. And then slot this into the controller. Close the controller and make sure it's nice and tight. And then lock it into place. Make sure that clicks so you get a definite lock. Once it's in, it's quite tight. It won't fall out. Those little rubber blocks on the rails do help with that. They just create a little bit more resistance on the corners there. But yeah, it looks quite nice and it goes with the Switch quite well. Now to set it up on the Switch itself, you do need to have it in Switch mode, which is that little second icon there. It looks like a Switch icon. And then you need to go into your controller settings of your Switch. Just unlock the console here. You need to go into your controller settings, and you need to go to change grip order. And then you need to hold down home button here for about 3 seconds. Everything will start to blink here. Now it will take a little bit, but it should appear on the screen shortly. There we go, paired. Now if you have trouble pairing, because now when I first got this controller and I very first paired it to the Switch, I had some issue of the Switch detecting it. It would go into that mode, but it just wouldn't pair no matter what. What I ended up doing is connecting the Switch to the dock and plugging the controller in via USB. So use the included USB cable, plug this controller into your dock. It'll say paired, but it won't generally like straight away detect. Unplug it, then put it back into pairing mode, and it should come up. It's a weird workaround, but it seems to work. It worked for me, so if you have trouble pairing it, try that first, because after that it seems to pair every time. So it's almost like it needs to be connected via USB first to see the Switch. I'm not sure why it does it, but it definitely is a workaround. Now, is this controller actually comfortable to use with the Switch? Yes, it is. So usually you would use the Joy-Cons. Now the Joy-Cons are quite small. You can get a bit cramped, a bit uncomfortable. These controllers are pretty much full-size controllers, so they're very comfortable to hold. You can still reach all the buttons quite easily, and they go well with the Switch, so they're a very good replacement for the Joy-Cons. So if you play with the Switch and you find the Joy-Cons uncomfortable to play for hours on end, then this controller might be a good alternative. And the fact you can use this with your Switch as well as mobile phones and tablets is a great advantage as well. And it does look pretty good on the Switch. You can see that it integrates with the console very nicely. So you've seen this controller work with a mobile phone as well as a Nintendo Switch console. But now let's take a look at it with a tablet. Now the tablet in front of me here is a Windows Surface tablet, and it's quite a big one at that. So it's 10.8 inches size, and it's a bit bigger considering it's got a thick bezel as well. Now you're probably thinking like, surely this controller is not big enough to accommodate this tablet, but it is. This controller extends quite a lot, and so yes, this tablet will work with this controller. So let's go ahead and install this tablet inside the controller. So to do that, we have to unlock it and of course extend this all the way, because we're going to need all the space for this. You may as well just lock it into place with this one, and you're going to have to rely on this extra spring on the side here to make it big enough to accommodate for the tablet. So grab your tablet, pop it in, and then you're going to have to pull this out and extend it enough so it fits over the edge, and just make sure it's in securely. There we go. So it fits quite nicely, and you can see how the tablet really dwarfs the controller, because it is quite a big tablet. And to give you an idea, like if you're comparing this to a Switch console, that's a Switch, and you can see how much bigger this tablet is. So now to connect this to the actual computer here, you need to do two things. So first you need to actually make sure it's on controller mode there. It's got the little controller icon. And the second thing, you need to just pair it via Bluetooth. So unlock this, go to your Bluetooth menu in Windows, and then hold the home button down on the controller for about 3 seconds. The light will start to blink, and in a few moments it'll pop up here. You can see it just says input device, but it will change the model in a moment. There we go, PG9083. So you just press that and hit pair. And give it a few moments to pair up with Windows. And there we go, connected. So now you can start playing PC games with this controller. Now you can connect this another way as well. If you want to use the USB cable, you can absolutely do that. So if your tablet like this one has a USB port like that, you can then plug it directly in via cable. But now depending on where that USB is located, it might be a bit more awkward. Because for instance, this is located just above the controller here, so if you plug this into here, it's going to obscure your bumper and trigger buttons. So sometimes it's not worth using the cable, but other times you can absolutely do it. The same thing if you're pairing this controller to a laptop, you could just plug it in or pair it via Bluetooth. So you have a couple of options when it comes to PC. Now, is this actually comfortable to play with? And yes, it is. So holding it is still very nice. It is a lot more heavier, so you may want to lean your arms against a desk or table when you're playing, but it is absolutely comfortable to play with. This controller is really nice, and it's basically a way to turn your Windows tablet into a Switch-like console. So you can play games on the go. You don't have to set this up on a desk and then use a separate controller. You can just mount it into the controller and play it like you would play your Switch console. It's really cool, and it's a really nice controller to play little simple Windows games with. You can of course use it with the bigger games as well, and you can also use this controller with desktop PCs or laptops, whatever you like. So whatever preference you like, You can also, because it fits so many devices, you could almost go back and forth. So you could put your mobile phone in, then switch to your Switch, then go to your tablet, and then if you're at home, you can plug this into your PC and use it as well. So it's very versatile, it's very comfortable, and the best thing about it is it accommodates these larger tablets. That's the whole reason I bought this controller, is because it fits these big tablets. Most mobile controllers I looked at, and most tablet controllers I looked at, don't fit big tablets at all. They fit the small Android, like maybe about 8 inches, maybe 10 inches maximum, but anything bigger is a really struggle to find a controller that fits. But this controller fits it perfectly, has enough space, and it really is easy to set up. So it's a great controller if you want to use with a Windows tablet. Overall, this is a great controller, and it's very versatile. The fact that it supports phones, tablets, as well as the Nintendo Switch console is great. Of course, if you want to use it on phones, you need to make sure it's Android. If you're on iOS, like an iPhone or iPad, then you're out of luck unless you live in China. But all Android devices, it should work fine. Windows tablets, it works fine. Android tablets, it works fine. And the Switch console as well. The only issue I had with setting it up was with the Switch, but there is a workaround. It was a bit fiddly, but I got there eventually. But overall, it's a pretty great controller, especially for the Switch. Because if you're tired of using those Joy-Cons and you're really cramped and you just find it uncomfortable, then this is a good alternative to those Joy-Cons because it just is very comfortable. It feels like a full-size controller. So overall, it's a really nice controller to use with your Switch console. Of course, I bought this because it accommodates large tablets, and the idea of putting your Windows tablet in here and having like a portable Windows machine just like a Switch is pretty great, especially since it'll have the biggest screen. So if you like phone games, or you want to play on your Windows tablet, or you just want to have a good replacement for the Switch, then this is a great controller. So you guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, then please hit that like button as it helps out a lot. Feel free to subscribe, as I'll heap some more gaming controls and accessories up very shortly. While you're at it, hit that notification button and share this video with your friends. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.